It's the third part of our series, Archery Elk Hunting from Response to Release, connecting the dots. And on tonight's show, we're focusing on those variables and questions from before you see the elk to there he is to when he's in range. We cover questions like, how do you know if he's still coming? And what do I do if I'm not sure? What if he's moving to my downwind side? He busted out a bugle and he's closing in. Do I respond? I hear another hunter coming into my setup. What should I do? He's coming into range. Do I wait or do I draw? He's just out of comfortable shooting range. Do I take that shot? So many questions and tons of variables. But don't you guys worry. It's time to connect some more dots, ElkBros style. Those topics are ElkBros shout outs and questions from our awesome ElkBros mailbox. So my friends, pull up a chair, adjust your volumes just right, and welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunting.
Welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunting, brought to you by ElkBros.com, with your host Gilbert Ornelas and elk hunting coach Joe Gilliam. You want to hunt elk? They live to hunt elk. Their goal is to share with you what they have learned grinding it out for over 30,000 seasons, doing what they love. So come on into camp and set a spell. Welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunters.
Hello there, everyone. If it's your first time with us, glad to have you. Hope you enjoy our show. And as always, for those blue collar hunters following our show and grinding it out with us every week, welcome back to Elk Camp. I'm Gilbert Ornelas, the host of your show, coming to you live from Spring, Texas in Casa de Ornelas. And we have the Venezuelan mafia leader, Luis Gonzalez from the Katy, Texas area. And that's right, the one and only elk calling master from Burnett, Texas, the Flatlander himself, Mr. Cole Wilkes is in the house. And from Cimarron, New Mexico, we've got our elk hunting coaches in the house. That's right, we got the elk ninja with us, Leroy Chad Chavez and Joe Gilliam say tonight. What's up, Joe?
What up, y'all?
So anybody who is listening to this, who is watching this right now, we are not where Gilbert says we are, because we are on the road heading to elk camp, man. Can you believe it?
Right.
2021 is happening, man.
Unbelievable.
That is right, man.
So
I
crazy.
didn't think about it that way, but it's true.
The bros
Which is the best,
when y'all
man.
are hearing this, fellas.
Yeah.
So,
So
Beto, you got to man up and call me the Venezuelan mafia leader when Manano is on too. Bro. What's up with that?
I don't
man?
know what you're talking about. I say it all the time.
No, I don't know. I don't
It
know.
ain't gonna
You
matter
kinda-
because Manano ain't listening to this.
we know this. We know this.
We got to throw our brother under the bus when he can't help himself, you know.
Yeah.
He ain't here to defend
hey,
himself.
man,
and get
I
off
don't know
the
about
road.
y'all, but I'm doggone ready, man, to hit the hills,
Yeah.
man.
Oh man,
You know?
so ready.
Wait
They're
a
hitting
second. Wait
They're
a
hitting the
second.
ground already, Joe.
They are hitting the ground, man.
I know. Old Nick Muntz done put one down for the bone collector already, man.
Hey, who do we have in the house?
Hey, we got a couple other boys.
Hell,
want to
got a
put
bunch
one
of
down on the
intruders
ground.
again, man. You're
Hey,
letting
guys.
a lot of people hack into your system, bro. What's going on?
Hey, so this is the fourth and final time that you're going to hear this from the bros. We have some special guests joining us for a few minutes. Everybody out there, all our grinders, meet Joe and John Waldron, Team Wyo Reaper, the fourth and final elk hunting team from this upcoming season of Hunt Wars, man. Guys, welcome to the
Welcome,
Team
brothers.
JJ, what's
Nice.
in the hat? What's
Thank
going
you.
on?
Thanks for having us, guys. Yeah, thank
Very
you.
cool.
They saved the best for last or what?
They did.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I see a big
Yeah.
old elk in the background too. Look at that.
Hey, I didn't mind
listen.
enough to show them to people.
Listen to Gilbert now say that this is his favorite team now. It's just
Man,
like he's
for
been
sure,
telling that
dude.
to every single team.
Hey,
that's
when
been
you
going
can walk out there and say this is Team JJ in the house, dude, you my favorite team. Ain't no my money's on Team JJ out of Wyoming. You guys out of Wyoming, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's cool. What part?
South Central Wyoming.
South Central Wyoming.
Yeah.
Just above
Okay.
the Colorado border or what?
South.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
South Central. So all of us that are not Wyoming oriented, tell us some places that we might recognize there.
Yeah.
I'm from Saratoga, Wyoming, and
okay.
John's from Rawlins, Wyoming.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Rawlings.
I don't know.
I guess.
It sounds like John has Rawlings, man. I mean, that's kind of like the name right there. I mean, it just reeks cowboy, rough, tough, you know.
High desert, dry, sagebrush.
Oh, really? How close in age are you guys?
4 years.
Who's older?
I am.
Oh,
Joe's older. I'm the bigger brother.
I got you. Who's the shooter and who's the caller?
I'm the shooter.
You the shooter. Did you put in first?
Yes, sir. I didn't even tell anyone I put in.
Did Joe put in? Joe, did you put in?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, so it says on his name Joe, but look, we go through
so
this.
John and Joe and Jay. So
that's not Amber down there.
Yeah.
It says Amber, but I figured it wasn't.
John right there. So they do that.
Well,
they get confused. So
Just don't call it late for
Did
dinner.
the other Jay put in?
Yeah. Just don't call it late for dinner for
Oh, he did.
No,
He just got lucky to have a good friend.
I heard the Hunt Wars, and I didn't put in. And Joe called me up one day, and he goes, "Dude, I just won Hunt Wars drawing."
Wow.
What exactly does this mean? He goes, "We're going to New Mexico."
Wow.
Hopefully, yeah.
Y'all ever hunted in New Mexico before, boys?
Nope.
Never hunted out of the state. No.
Oh, you're in for an unbelievable treat, man. It's a
Oh, we're so ready.
unbelievable state, really cool habitat, unbelievable bulls all over the country. I don't think there's a bad unit in the whole daggum state, you know. Y'all are
Joe,
gonna have a blast. I don't know if Joe's told y'all how we got involved with Hunt Wars, but it all started with me texting Joe when Joe was on vacation and asking him to go hunt with me. Just me and him go do the Hunt Wars deal. And then Joe's like, "Well, man, I don't know. Let me check into this." And before you know it, him and Troy are hooked up at the hip, man. And here we are. ElkBros is now involved with Hunt Wars. So it was really cool from going to, but you know, we can't compete. At the end of the day, man, you know, we're gonna let y'all win. I mean, that's how it be.
So Joe, quick question, man. So first of all, how'd you find out about Hunt Wars? And then, you know, what after you put in, how was it when you found out, man?
So I had a guy I work with, a guy by the name of Dominic Basinger, came into work and started telling me about this show. It was 4:30 in the morning. And I'd never even heard of it. I just built a house, so I didn't have time to watch any of this kind of stuff. So 20 minutes later, I put in for it. I didn't tell him. I didn't tell anybody. I just put in for it. And I'm cheap. So I was like, oh, I just threw away $100. But you never know. You know, I don't ever win anything. And then the night I drew, I was cooking dinner because my wife was getting home late from work. And so I missed the live show, and I had planned on watching it. And the guy that told me about it said, "Did you just draw Hunt Wars?" And I said, "No way." So I got on my phone because I didn't believe him, of course. And it was still live, so I couldn't watch it. And I had to wait till it was done being live to actually watch it.
Wow.
So,
You know,
It's way cool.
and for all of our listeners, I think just about every one of these guys that are competing that put in said they never win anything, man. So I mean,
that's so cool, man.
Maybe I need to put in because I never win anything.
We're exempt now, bro.
you won't win.
We're
You won't win, bro.
I don't know. Joe gets lucky quite a bit, so he's bound for it.
I can draw tags sometimes, and I just Hunt Wars, but everything else I'm not lucky in.
So let me ask you, Joe, man, you've got your brother that's going to be the caller, the maestro, his job to pull that booger by you. I mean, is he going to get the job done for you, man? I mean, is there any doubt, any worries, any?
If there was any doubt, there's a reason he's my caller. He's incredible. He's
yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Manano. Yeah.
I've heard that on the other podcast.
Where is Manano?
Manano can call cats, man, but that's about all.
Manano heard you guys were coming, and we were going to talk about having a call off or something. He didn't show up.
He's out.
Scared.
No,
Got
but
scared and stayed home. Now listen, if y'all want to go pack mule against him, my money's on the Venezuelan. I promise you.
he understands that language, man. You put it back on his back and point the way, and it gets there.
He may fall asleep along the way and get there late, but he'll get there.
So, and I want to just kind of support a little bit of what Joe says there, because I've got to watch John's growth, man, in calling. And I mean, this guy already had a grasp of the calling, but do you think you've grown any as you've gone there, bud?
Oh yeah, I've always, from the get-go, always been. When I go to clean bugles, I've always not liked doing that because I've always been weak at it. But creating a scene, I've always been great at. I've always been able to draw bulls right into the shooters, and you hit on it, Joe, from day one. You said it, and I went, "Yep, this guy knows." And I instantly started working on it. And 2 days later, I sent you a deal, and you said, "Holy cow, did you change?"
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't take long at all, man. It's so cool to see, guys, I've gotten to see all these guys, and I get videos, I get audio recordings, I've gotten them from Joe, I've gotten from John, all the contestants, man. And it's so cool to see that work ethic that, these guys are putting in the time. They're not going to show up at camp without having a skill set. And, it's pretty exciting. And are you guys going on a hunt before Hunt Wars?
Oh, yeah. We're gonna be hunting straight till the day we leave.
Awesome, man.
Oh wow.
Yep.
And
Nice.
so, what's the location of your honey hole?
Oh, we're not going to tell you that.
Gonna be in Wyoming or Colorado,
He'll
guys?
edit that. He'll edit
Colorado.
So
Yeah.
now I have to ask, what do you guys do for a living, man?
Yeah.
What the heck?
They work. Let me
I'm
tell you,
jealous
when I
now,
talk to
dude.
them, they're working.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
We
no, what did you guys do? Seriously, just joking aside.
we work for Sinclair Oil.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. We're all oil field rats, me and Louise.
Well, not
Yeah.
quite oil field. We work in the refinery, but
Yeah.
Yeah, downstream.
Downstream.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
on this.
Cool.
Cool.
Let me tell you, every time I talk to the guys, they're working, man. And I want their boss to know. I've tried to go in and call them. They're like, "No, we can't talk. We're working." So it's
This is Joe. This is the United Slaves of America.
Yeah.
100.
guys, we'll edit that out for you. All right. We'll get there. So, all right, now
cool.
you guys know already. You've talked to the other guys. You guys have been on WhatsApp together. There's little things flying around and stuff like that. And look, they don't listen to the podcast, man. So
I have.
so who do you think is going to be the ones to beat out there, man? Oh,
John, you want to do this or no?
We're gonna have to go with our fellow Wyoming boys.
You're being recorded.
I'm not doubting the other guys. It's just us Wyoming guys. We know how to hunt, so
Oh man,
bringing it.
yeah.
The gauntlet.
I know we're bringing it.
Yeah.
We know it's elk hunting, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I think everybody can shoot. Everybody has kills under their belt. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Is it
Well,
gonna
I
be
can tell
another
you
shoot-off?
this right now. Y'all don't want to go to camp in an arm wrestling contest. There's a couple of them boys that are large and in charge.
I think we're doing prison rules. You got to beat up the biggest guy when you get to camp. So.
Hey, man, if that's the case, I want video on that because I'm a little side action because I know what I'm taking.
That
You know what though? That Brett scares me, man. After what he said on that podcast, holy cow, he's got some kahunas.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you what, man, that bow don't care how big you are behind it, man. You send that arrow and you get that booger in, it don't matter what size you are, man.
Everybody's
Oh, yeah.
a loser after that.
It's all about heart, determination,
Yep.
and grit, man. Just getting out there and grinding it. And I tell you what, I haven't seen a group yet that doesn't fit that bill. But you guys have something unique, and I know, like, when we talk about we're all brothers. I mean, me and Chav here have been hunting together, got 30 you're 39, man. That's crazy, but
At least 39.
Yeah, you were about 35 when you started.
yeah. And just think, in another 30 years, you might. Never mind. So, but you guys have something unique, man. Being brothers, do you think that brings
straight
something
scoreboard.
to the formula for you guys?
Oh yeah, I mean we aren't originally from Wyoming, and when we moved out here, we hit the ground running, and we both just hung out in the mountains every day off we had until we had kids, and we just really tried to learn how to hunt elk. It took us a good 5 years to figure it out, but once we
Now, when you
off.
say when you had kids, it's just each of you individually, just to kind of clarify here.
yeah to clarify, yes.
Watch these Venezuelans.
All right, man. Yeah, nowadays you gotta ask, man.
Hey.
You just don't never know.
Different culture, man. He's a different
Mercy.
culture.
Different
Yeah.
So are those Colorado bulls behind you or Wyoming bulls?
These are Wyoming bulls, all local bulls.
Nice.
I've always wanted to hunt in Wyoming.
Why
Is
would
it
you
all a
leave
draw
Wyoming
state?
to Go to Colorado, man. That would.
No, there's over the counter for
Oh.
in-state. It takes 4 points, I think, to draw a general tag. It's not a stater, and we have plenty of draw areas too.
Gotcha.
So we get to hunt every year, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Let me see the one you got right behind you there. Just move a little
out of
bit.
your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful bull.
That's my first Pope and Young bull.
Yeah.
So you
I had
guys
to mount
said,
him.
you said
Mine's right behind me.
you've hit the ground running, but I also know this, man. I know brothers. When there is a disagreement, there's no problem generally talking about that. Y'all knock heads out there in the woods at all, or you get through it
Not
pretty well?
really.
really.
No, we just enjoy it. I mean,
Yeah, just like me and Manano. Same. Just all across.
I don't know. Chav has tripped me up a few times, man, and he's left me to bears twice. He's left.
That's your own fault, dude. You want to stick around and see him.
He's a ninja, man. He's gonna be out there and you
Right,
won't
he
even
is.
notice.
I had a bear. I had a bear right in front of me, about 20 yards, popping his teeth, getting all crazy. I turned around and tell Chav, "Do you see that, Chav?" Chav?
Gandhi. Yeah.
Well, guys, man, we really are looking forward, and it's only now. It's just a matter. It's a couple weeks away for you, really. You get ready to hit the woods on your own hunt. Make sure that you're posting that stuff. Send us some pics. Let us know how it's going, and we're excited for you. We want to wish you the best of luck, and man.
Yeah, what unit y'all hunting in Colorado? Joe edited all this.
I don't really know any of the numbers of the units in Colorado, but the one in the middle of the state.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's good.
Same damn
One
one
in
more
the middle
hunt.
of the state.
Denver.
And we're looking forward to having you guys in camp. I mean, Joe's been awesome. I mean, for a coach, man, you got it, Joe.
Thanks, bud.
does.
It's
Hey,
really been helpful.
look, Cole Wilkes, Eric Aragon, all these guys are top-notch individuals, man. So
Oh yeah.
but we ride the river
Uh-huh.
with these guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Look,
Yeah, man, and I've told this to all the teams, right? I mean, unique opportunity, once in a lifetime type deal, incredible memories. That's what it's all about. Enjoy it, man. Make the most out of it. Just take it all in, man, and just store those memories with you for the rest of your lives, man, and tell those stories later on. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we'll do.
And I'm gonna
Absolutely.
make sure I ask all of the guys to do this. But would you guys, after the hunt is over, come back and join us for a show, and
Yeah.
so that we can actually talk about the hunt and all the things that went on in there, the good, the bad, the ugly, and so that we can share some of those learning experiences. Because you guys are coming from Wyoming to New Mexico, and it's gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Elk or elk, but
A lot different.
Just the terrain and stuff. So
It's a great idea, Joe.
yeah,
Great
I'd
idea.
I'd love to have you back if you guys would come join us for a show and just kick around the campfire with us.
Absolutely. I'd love. I'm excited not to deal with deadfall. I know the terrain's going to be different, but no deadfall is going to be so nice.
I don't know.
A lot of times we're walking 100 yards on 6 foot of deadfall, so we hunt.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Oh, it's awful.
Me and Miss,
Yeah,
me
you
and
got
the ninja
volcanic
right there
rocks here.
came down a whole mountain full of deadfall. It was horrible.
Just be ready
Yeah.
for some warm days, cooler nights. So the days, can be, and I think you guys already have that happening up in your part of the world as well. But we'll talk more about that strategy when I see you guys on Thursday, man. That's tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds
All right,
great. Thank
see
you,
ya.
Joe.
Hey guys.
Thank you guys.
Guys,
Brothers,
Thank you,
all the
guys.
best.
All the best. God bless. Awesome, Joe. Another good team from Wyoming. The brothers,
Yep.
Team JJ, going to get after it, buddy.
Yeah, the Waldron brothers, man.
The Waldron brothers.
Every one of these groups are so cool in their relationships and their hunting relationships, where they've been, where they're at right now in the game, their passion for the hunting, just wanting to go and really have a good time on this Hunt Wars. And, Cole, I think you guys, man, are looking forward to being out there with these guys, huh?
yeah, man, I can't wait. Getting to get on the podcast with them, or really the coaching sessions that you have on Thursdays. That's been really cool. And, even talking to the guys, I've talked to a few of them. They've just called me outright, and we've chatted on the phone for hours and hours, and it's been super cool. And I think it's going to be really awesome to be there with all of them in camp, and then get to be there through the struggle and the successes and all that. I just can't wait, man. It's going to be super cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be way awesome. Oh, before we go, there's a couple, before we move on, Gilbert, and you get us there, a couple of things that I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys know who Travis O'Shea is. He's from Canada. He's a world champion elk caller, man, a Canuck up there, and an incredible individual. And he, when he heard about us going on our hunt, and, he knows that we try out all kinds of things, we have stuff going, he wants us to really pull some of his calls out there, the Wapiti River outdoor calls. And I want you to look at how these look. Now, do you see something special right there?
Yeah, those little cuts on the top section there.
Notches.
And he's
Automatic.
also
When I saw these, I was like, somebody was thinking, man, because you don't have to worry about notching these to get a fit on the roof.
because when they collapse, they just kind of butt against each other like that, man.
Yep. So I was
And
like,
they also look like they have some sort of double, because they have that black rubber in it, but then at the same time, it's got the little Teflon, the white Teflon underneath it too. So
what
It's got a dome on
that's the skirt
that
tape,
the
and
dome?
then you got the dome there, and then the latex underneath. It's a little bit, and one thing that you'll see is that latex a little bit forward more than what you might see on a Phelps call like that. And we love the Phelps calls, and what we're going to do is we're going to give these a run out there. I mean, he sent, man, I mean, we got calls coming, and
Cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
We're not tied down to nobody.
Scuffler, the Kryptonite. He's got
He's tied to nobody.
got the Patriot, and if
I don't
you
want
have
any used ones, okay?
hey, I've got one for you. I got one.
Okay,
for you.
okay.
So,
Mine's in the boxer. I ain't got it.
I got to give one for Louis.
Joe is the only one that digs that kind of stuff, man.
Look, it's amazing the extent I will go to.
There's no
get
doubt.
you an elk, Luis.
There-
No, absolutely.
There
I wouldn't do that for you. Just so you know.
Take it for the I mean, but there's some people that do whatever it takes to get an elk, and there's those people that
Yeah.
No, you can do whatever it takes to get me an elk. I'm cool with that.
Well, look, I got a pile full of calls with me too, Joe, but I'd like to, honk on one when I'm up there and see how it sounds.
Absolutely.
We'll have a couple of days. Before it gets rolling.
Here's the first example, man.
Okay.
And off of the soloist, man. Oh, and by the way, everybody that calls is going to have a soloist in camp, man.
Oh, that man, Manano's the only one that's not getting it. Wow.
Good, dude.
That is
That
good.
sounds good.
Sounds sweet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How's the cow sound?
I was just
sound out of
fixing
that?
to
You know, it has a really cool.
Buzz to it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good,
Kind of
Joe.
like an older type, has just more raspy cow type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that has to do with that.
Primos Black.
Yeah, and you know what? This is, and what I like about these, most of his calls are both cow and bull oriented, man. And you got some that's a little bit softer, some that's a little bit thicker. But you know, I'm real anxious in giving them a run. And God, I don't know what, I think I blew out my mic. Am I sounding a little loud there? Okay.
You sound good.
That's better. All right. So I'm real excited to give those puppies a run. And Travis, man, he's just incredible. As soon as he heard he just threw a bunch in our box, said, "Here, y'all try these, man." And
that's awesome, dude.
He's a great guy. Great guy. And we'll have some other surprises with Travis later on too, man. So that's yet to be talked about. Oh, and I get a letter today from these gentlemen, and I want to show you the picture on here. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and pin myself so that
it's like snow,
so everybody can see this. Yeah, well, that's the same time hunting as we did last year, bro.
Last year, gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So I want to read this to you guys, and it says, "Dear Joe, Chav, Big O, and Manano, greetings from a couple of your grinders in." What are you looking back? What's wrong, Luis?
Nothing. I just don't know if what you're about to read is about to make us a bit emotional, so I'm trying to laugh to avoid crying. So
no, I just had to do that, man.
Hilarious.
I know you better, Joe.
Here you go, Manano and Luis. Greetings from a couple of your grinders in Iowa, Dean and Jason, and Kentucky, Dan and Bob. So we have guys from Iowa and guys from Kentucky there. There were a couple instances in your early podcast episodes where you mentioned caramels from the monastery at Dubuque, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Huh? The
Trappistine caramels, yeah.
Yeah, out there, man.
Trappistine nuns.
Given we are only weeks away from getting into the woods, I thought we'd share some of the real treats for you guys to take on your adventure in Colorado. Best of luck, fellas. This year will be a new experience outside of New Mexico. I'll finish the letter, but look what. Yeah, so this will be going to
some
camp.
Trappistines?
Trappistine
so
caramels.
cool, man.
Yep.
Dude.
They sent some caramels. They said listening to your podcast and learning from your Basecamp training app has been a blessing for the four of us as we are new to elk hunting. Joe, I must have purchased Basecamp on your birthday as you offered a free app to Dan. Thank you again. We both took maximum advantage of the training this year. The content is phenomenal. I really enjoy the progression of the modules and your coaching style. The variety and the way the content is presented offers everyone a chance to learn in their own way at their own pace. Now we must put boots on the ground and implement what we've learned. I still try to listen to all your podcast episodes. I enjoy the camaraderie and good-hearted humor. It's easy to see how much each of you care for one another. I really hope Chad is able to get out and have that full experience this year after such a challenging year from a health perspective. Buddy, you just watch. You all are so giving of your time and knowledge. We appreciate all you do. Looking forward to many more episodes. Enjoy the caramels and the fellowship with each other. Jason Dolash, Dean Brainerd, Dan Reamer, and Bob Rothrock. How
Jason,
cool is that?
Dean,
Right on,
Dan,
guys.
and Bob, thank you guys.
Man,
Appreciate it.
thank you guys. Fellas.
I don't know
Hey,
that
good
those
luck in
caramels are going to
Colorado.
make it to camp if you sent them to Joe, but
actually-
thank you anyway.
I want you to know they will be at camp, but a lot of us will be in camp on the 31st, and other people aren't going to get there till, you know.
Yeah, they're going to be
They ain't gonna
gone.
make it. It's gonna be kind of like my wife.
If Beto gets there before anybody, then they're not going to make it for sure.
Right. Man, it's like the brownies. They ain't gonna make it, Luis.
I'm just gonna tell on Kelly if you eat my brownies, that's really gonna be an issue there if you eat my brownies.
Gilbert, what time is it, bro?
Guys, y'all know what time it is. It's time for your ElkBros shout-outs. This just a shout out to a few cities with the most listeners topping our charts this week, Joe.
Yes, sir. And first up, we're going to start our shout outs with a tip from the old Billy Goat himself.
There they
right?
go.
Bob Collins, here he is, man. Let's share this puppy.
Hey guys, this is the old Billy Goat with another tip for you. Hey, I want to talk to you this week about romance. Hey, don't hit that mute button like I'm a bad Geico commercial. Hear me out, guys. Hey, what I do is I get cards. Get one for your wife and each of your kids. I prefer the blank ones on the inside. Write something in it personal. All right, guys? You know, they're home, hold down the force while we're out playing. So I make it all out before I even leave home. It's all made out, stamps on it, ready to go, and I drop it in the post office box or a post office just before I go up in the mountains. They'll get it 3-4 days later. And it's the fact that you wrote something personal in there, guys, to each one of them really makes their day. So guys, that's your tip from the old Billy Goat. Get them a card, all right? See ya.
Pure wisdom.
Yeah,
Wisdom like a true
Hey guys, this is the old Billy Goat.
absolutely,
Another tip
man.
for
I
ya.
think
Hey.
that is just and I want to say,
Pure
you know, he kept saying guys and stuff for our lady hunters out there as well, man. You know, but the only thing is I really don't think we have to tell our lady hunters out there, because they're a lot times they're more thoughtful than we are, I think, you know, in
No doubt.
that perspective. So that's a great tip right there.
Oh my God, gold. It's gold. I'm doing it.
I'm starting a company to do.
You're starting a
exactly.
company. Awesome, dude. Way cool. Luis, you're up.
All right, man. Give me a second here. This week's top listening city was named by early settler Sidney Evans after his hometown in New York. The city is the 16th largest city in Wisconsin and comprises 6 square miles. This is also home to the original Cheesecake Factory. Money Magazine named this city 17th in its 2017 Best Places to Live in America. This is New Berlin, Wisconsin.
New Berlin, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love me some Cheesecake Factory.
Absolutely.
So good.
But it's kind of like Cabela's, man. I mean,
Yeah, you spend your whole wad right there, Joe. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't walk into Cabela's without, you know, getting into my ass wallet. I promise you.
I get those gift cards. Everybody in the family gives you those gift cards, man. It's like I put them in a collection box every year till I get something so I can go actually go buy something, man. You know, like that.
Cabela's,
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Cole, take the next one.
Oh, yeah. All right. This top listening city is known as America's farm to fork capital because the area ships produce and over the nation and has over 40 local farmers markets stocked full of local produce. Located where the American River and the Sacramento River cross, it is also called the City of Trees and the Big Tomato. It is home to the NBA's king and the state's capital of California, which is Sacramento, California.
Sacktown in the house.
So far from Wisconsin to California.
Yeah, man.
Tomato.
Sacktown.
Yeah, this was originally for Manano. Did you do that on purpose? Because it would have been interesting to see how he would have said farm fork capital.
No, and look, man, this is so ElkBros has been educational, not only on the hunting aspect of things, but I've learned pronunciation as well. So there is a word there in that thing that I did not pronounce properly in the past, and it's produce. I would have pronounced that before Joe corrected me. Produce. And so I was then taught that there's a difference between produce and produce. And so, that's why so educational.
English sucks. I'm telling you. It's hard, man.
Let it be said. Let it be said, let it be noted, so it is written that had I really been after Manano, I would have put him on the one that Gilbert's about to do. Gilbert, let him know why. Go ahead.
This next top listening city is located on Florida's East Coast. between Fort Pierce and West Palm Beach, just out of Port St. Lucie. It was once known as the pineapple capital of the world, and it still holds the annual Pineapple Festival. The large public beach has beautiful blue-green, crystal clear water, providing a family-friendly area. It's also known for its seafood and intensive fine dining in Jensen Beach, Florida, on
Jensen-
the East Coast side. The
Jensen
Atlantic
what?
side.
Jensen Beach, Florida.
Jensen Beach, Florida.
Jensen, huh?
See?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Jensen
Now-
Beaches.
Now, let me hear how considered I was being right there.
Yeah, you were. There's still a little bit of malice there with the produce, but that's okay.
But let me tell you what, I am writing that down because I am one seafood loving booger, man.
Me too,
And
dude.
man, I tell you what,
Yeah, I love seafood as well.
yep. Yeah, I'm
So,
on a seafood diet.
Wisconsin, California,
Yep.
Florida, man.
Florida, man.
Yep.
Right on big old Lake Okeechobee, man. When I go to Okeechobee, I'm going to go to Jensen Beach for sure.
Here we go. Next up, this top listening city is known as the farm toy capital of the world and is home to the National Farm Toy Museum. The popularity of these toys over the years has supported 2 large toy shows which are held every June and November. The 1989 film Field of Dreams was filmed on a nearby farm. Love that movie, man. Build it and they will come. On August 12th, 2021, Major League Baseball hosted a game between the Chicago White Sox and the New York Yankees on this facility. Did you guys see that?
Wow.
Did you see that? They actually, as they come out of the field, out of the cornfield onto the ball, it was lit, man. I mean, it was totally legit to see that.
That's
and
cool.
this is in Dyersville, Iowa.
Dyersville, Iowa.
Dyersville, Iowa, man.
I mean, from East Coast to West Coast, clean to the upper Midwest, man.
Yep.
Here we go in the heartland of America.
The name of this southern coastal city is of French origin, meaning good air. Hometown to Governor and the 31st United States
Big ball.
Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. The nearby sea is remarkably calm and conditions are ideal for diving and snorkeling. On average, the water temperature is 80 degrees Fahrenheit and visibility exceeds 100 feet.
Wow.
Ranked the 9th best place to visit in the month of July in Bon Air, Georgia.
Bon Air, Georgia.
Bon Air, Georgia.
I've been, because I'm,
Forget Georgia has a coast.
yeah, and I've been in that area because I lived up in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and I've been down to Hilton Head, Georgia, down in there, but I never, when they were talking about the visibility being over 100 feet and the water conditions for diving, this here is a gem, man, that I've never even known about. So Bon Air, that's a place to go right there. That's a
For sure.
destination.
A destination for, like I said, if you forget Georgia got a coast,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. All right, guys, here we go. Let's rock into the content for tonight.
Absolutely.
Up next on our series, this is our series, Archery Elk Hunting from Response to Release, Connecting the Dots. I think everybody knows what the whole purpose of this show is now. If you're joining us, the whole idea was to take those major points on a hunt that are always talked about and fill in the gray areas in between, those questions that come up, a lot of those variables that happen. And there's no way we can hit every variable, but there's things that definitely come up that are going to help you prepare, even if the variable is a little bit different on there. And tonight, we're going from before you see that elk to there he is to he's in range. And I don't know if we'll get to taking the shot and that part of it, but that's the flow that we're going to be going in as we go here. And let me tell you what, guys, man, our last episode that we set on day 1 an ElkBros record of downloads and listens, man. I mean, it just slammed. So
That's cool.
you can tell there's a lot of people out there that have those questions, those thought processes about, well, what if this happens or that, and trying to really put it together and to get a better feel. So, all right. So let's talk about that elk is coming in, but you haven't seen them yet. Some of those variables, some of those thoughts, those things going through the head, or some things that could happen there that people are going to encounter. And, like, for example, we haven't seen them yet. And I know most people, when they're in the woods, and remember, we're already in our setup, right? We've already talked about that. So we're in our setup. We just haven't seen that elk, that we know is coming in, whether it's a setup that has been engaging or non-engaging. And that's a whole nother podcast. But whatever strategy we're using, whether we have directly engaged that bull, let's say bull, because we're going to deal with bulls right now. We're not going to deal with cows right now. If you listen to our strategies, you can always call a cow in as well if that's what you're hunting. But if you haven't seen that bull yet, whether you engaged him directly or whether you're putting on a scenario that he is responding to, and that can happen as well. That's non-engaging. That's when we are not really talking to that bull. We're doing our own thing. But you've heard him, and all of a sudden there's always that moment of doubt, like you haven't heard the bull. Is that bull coming in? Did he hang up? Is he going away? And especially for a new hunter that they don't trust or believe in their calling ability. And a lot of times they start having that doubt of, what's going on. So most people are not sure what to do at that point. Okay, so the question is, should I call to verify his location or should I stay silent? And let's talk about solo and partner. We'll handle both of them.
So, obviously, I guess you have an inkling to know that he is coming. Is that right, Joe?
Right.
You maybe heard him come in, or maybe he sounded off to you. I just wonder, how long have you not heard anything?
Let's say that we've probably heard him, and coming from a point maybe 200 to about the 150 mark. He's probably not. He might even be almost to that 100-yard mark, but we haven't seen the bull yet. So it's either that 100-yard mark. What's that?
You're solo.
And let's deal with solo first. So I'm solo, and I haven't seen. What do I do?
Yeah, I'm being quiet. I'm waiting, being patient.
And why do you picked solo for that, Luis, and you said you're staying quiet. Why did you hit that?
Well, the question of the solo is, because if you're not solo, if you were a partner, you have the luxury of that partner being behind you, and then probably trying to kind of pull him a little further, because that bull may be a little bit hung up and may be doubtful. And so, but if you call and you're solo and that bull is kind of hung up, now he's going to hang up even more, because he knows feel like he should see you, and he doesn't. And now he's going to pinpoint your exact location, right?
You right there is where I think you hit the nail on the head. Is it doesn't even have to be a hung up bull, man. Remember,
any bull.
Yeah, any
bull. He's wanting to see something.
He might just be getting ready to pop into your vision, or maybe a little bit off to the right or a little bit off to the left, and you're looking in a different direction. You haven't caught movement yet. But if you're solo, and as soon as you make a sound, deep, right?
It's really important, Joe, though, if you are going to make a sound, it's got to be behind you. You've got to get your bugle tube. You've got to get your bugle tube up and throw it behind you. And very softly, not something that's going to make him lose his mind, But
your volume can simulate distance.
Yeah, you got to wait. I harken back to one time you and I were in bulls all morning, Joe, and we had this bull coming up. He's coming up from us, and he is on a rope. We've seen him come through the trees, and he is letting out bugles and bugles and bugles, and we're in a little bitty jack pine, just a little stand of jack pine, Joe and I are. And this bull is just hot. Blowing up, and then, man, he gets within, I don't know. Well, I do know now. He was 50 yards from us, and he just shuts up and doesn't say a word. I mean, not a word. And Joe's actually done exactly what you said. I mean, every few seconds, Joe would let out a little cow call behind us, behind us, behind us. And then we waited and waited. And Joe's like, man, I know he was coming, you know. And so Joe steps out in the jack pines and the bull is standing in the road looking at Joe. I mean, 50, you know, not 45, 50 yards from us. He's looking dead at Joe. And all we needed to do was stay quiet and stay right there. And he probably walks right by us at 10 or 12 yards, you know. And it was something that I learned. And Joe did too, I'm sure. He's like, man, but we were running and gunning that morning. I mean, going into set after set, and bulls were firing up everywhere. And Joe's like, don't even worry about that bull. Let's go to the next one. At that time, Joe knew that we'd both, you know, made a mistake and not just played it to where we're patient, you know. But at the time, it didn't matter. We were going through every different. We had
bulls blowing up here.
It really didn't matter. We could blow that one up. We go to the next one. We go next. Except for when Joe ready to go to the next one, it might be another 1,000, 1,500 feet, which that's the way it was. We got to go up, you know, to keep going at him. So for me, he's dragging me up those hills, you know. So for me, I needed to get it done right then because Big O was sucking wind. I promise you. But dude, what an amazing opportunity to be able to get in that many sets. You know, as long as I've hunted with Joe, we've always made our own opportunities because we're very aggressive. And, you know, I had to get myself into where I could do that. You know, when I first started elk hunting, there was no way I could get into that, you know. Yeah. And for me, it's important for me to be able to go really short, hard bursts and then seal the deal when it's time. You know,
all right, let's circle back to we're in that setup though, man. Yeah. And you know, we've got that, and all of us have been there. I mean, you get itchy, man, because we want things in our time. We don't want things in an elk's time. And I tell you, when those bulls are coming in like that, a lot of times, you know, you guys have seen it. I mean, Chav, that time that, you know, we popped up the old, you know, decoy where I got silhouetted and stuff. You got an opportunity to really see how those bulls were acting. I mean, they're looking up, they're feeding our direction, but they're like feeding in their time. They're coming, but at that time, their mental state wasn't, and because of what we were doing, their mental state wasn't to come hauling in. Mm-hmm. You know, they were making their way, and a lot of times that happens. And it depends on the bull, and it depends on that bull's mode. You know, a lot of times some of those bulls are just like, they're really checking in an area because it could be a young bull that's gotten his butt kicked and, you know, he's like being a little bit careful, you know. I mean, you don't know what's going on with that, but you need that patience. And sometimes it's like, man, and we want that, just that confirmation. Okay, he's still coming in, right? We would love to have that booger like, whoa, screaming the whole time as they're coming in, right? You know, that's what we live for, but it doesn't always happen that way. And Luis hit the nail on the head. Gilbert did too. If you're going to call, you need to call back behind you. And now, let me tell you, a lot of you guys out there that call, you've got the bat style grunt tube. So basically, you know, you've got this style of grunt tube with you here. And one thing I would tell you is if you have this and you're going to be calling behind you, what you need to do is you need to have that tube behind you. You need to do that call, and then you need to drop that tube right down beside you and bring it down in this direction, just like that. Or, you know, because you're going to have your bow like this and you're going to call with this right here, you need to drop it right down just like this and making sure that you're not doing this. You do not want to be doing this with your tube. Okay, as soon as you've done a call, however you've done it, I don't know, this is pretty impossible. That's why I like a flexible. So if you're going to be doing something like this, you're going to call back, drop it down, and get it back within the line of your body so it's not doing a lot of movement. There's a huge tip for you right there. And then, man, you know, I don't know if you're going to set it down, what you're going to do with that puppy. But I'm telling you, most of you guys are going to have to set this down unless you have something. You're not able to go ahead and stick that in your pack. You're not going to be able to turn and stick it in the side. I would tell you, and you had better be sharp if when this happens, if you get up to move, you grab your grunt tube first. It's in your mind, because you need to drop it here, you need to get it down to the ground, set it right by you so that you can get it up if you need to, and take it back there if you need to. But that way you're ready if you see that bull come in. Is little bit of movement, because once you make that sound, that bull is doing this. And if he's someplace you haven't seen him yet, he's looking for movement. And if you do this, you know, if you start waving it around, he's going to bust you. So that's something for you to think about there.
He's directed his attention at the sound, so he's looking in that general area. So if you're making any extra movement, you know, he's going to catch that. I had a question about, you know, when you and Gilbert encountered that bull, where was the wind? What was the direction of the wind? Was
Right
it
in
a
our
sight?
face.
Sight? It was a face.
Right in our face, man.
Yeah.
He had no clue we were there, other than he'd heard us make that sound, and he's waiting. Okay, well, Elk's going to walk out any minute. You know, where in the heck is he? You know, and look, it was a bigger bull, so he's probably been had before, you know, so he's like, I'm not going any closer till I see me a white butt or something.
And let me tell you something else he did, man, was he took the path of least resistance.
Up the road.
Off the road, in past, you know how those jack pines get in a line like that? They kind of get in a line. We go onto the other side of the jack pines thinking he's going to come in through the cover, and he takes the path of least resistance. We should have actually set up on that road, looking down there with the shooting lane, and then finding another shooting lane to another angle with the wind coming in our face. That was a big mistake, because we did not take, he had to have stepped out before he'd be at a scan and a stop and scan location, and we messed that up.
Well, but to say that we messed up, we really didn't, because when we popped out right there, you cow called and he just hammered us. I mean, he was right there. We had no clue. He'd probably heard our setup before, you know, and he was coming in. And when we got there, just before we got to the road, you let out a cow call and then one with your bugle tube, and he just, I mean, he was right there.
So let's take it a step further, Gilbert and guys, man. So if we're saying, should I call to verify his location? Sometimes it helps to be silent. If that time goes for a little bit and you're not hearing a crack, you're not hearing a footstep, you're not hearing a log roll, a rock, anything like that, a breaking of a branch, you're not hearing any of that, and you just get to the point where, I'm not sure, well, go ahead and then give that, but do that sound like we're telling you about. Now, if I do call, what calls do I use?
Yeah, I want to do something real soft.
Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah.
Okay, so being that I've hunted a lot solo, this is what I would do all the time. And this is a call, and this is a unisex call, right? This is a cow or a bull noise. Mm-hmm. I will always, whenever I'm by myself and I think, okay, I'm within that range to where if I make a sound, he's going to pinpoint me and know exactly where I'm at and kind of shut me, lock me down, right? I always keep like a big rock or something in my other hand, and I will try to chunk that thing in the opposite direction or on the downwind side, and just to give him a confirmation also that, there's it, they're over there, or that's an elk. Mm. And sometimes he'll just bugle at that noise, at the rock, or chunk a stick or something and hit some bushes 20 yards to my left or something like that. And you'd be surprised at what kind of response he'll give you without having to make a cow call or a bugle.
Yeah, one of the calls, one of the things that you can do, man, is by stomping the ground, rolling a rock, breaking a twig, sound like a group of elk that's moving through an area, and man, that sells it. That sells it right there. A lot like what Cole's saying there. If you throw that and give it that sound, you can, if you don't get anything from that, you can just, and when you talk about unisex, a calf call, man, is one of those things that you can put out there that's not a threatening call. Now, when they talk about what call should I use, you really got to go back to what call was that bull responding to in the first place. Yeah. Right? Yeah. If we're very cow oriented in our calls first, we are lovers before we're a fighter, man. And if you think about that fact, if you think about the fact of, what is on this bull's mind? What is going to attract that bull first? Well, who is it that is creating, the atmosphere of who they're going to breed with, right? Who, it is the cow. So we're always cow oriented first. That doesn't mean that if we get a bull and we actually have, because we find out that they are lighting up with bull sounds, because we had that happen, man. We've had certain years where we can cow call, nothing. We got a location bugle, man, it just lights up, right? And so we find that that's what they're looking for, but we've already introduced a cow. So that gives us the ability to do a few things and listen to what that bull is doing. We're actually reading his temperature. Is he starting to, is he starting to get a little bit more aggressive? Is he toning up? Is he starting to add some inflection? Is he getting louder? Is he cutting us off when we're making sounds? Is he demonstrate bugle? Is he doing a long lip ball? What kind of sounds is he doing to tell us what his temperament is? So what calls you use is according to how you got to that position in the first place. If you've got a bull that you've introduced a cow or cow and a calf, and you've got him coming in and he does that little contact bugle that they do to try to locate just where are you type thing, that just one of those.
Yep.
You don't want to go screaming at that guy, or if he just gives a little location of here I am, right where I'm at, just making contact with those cows as he's coming, kind of advertising his move as he's coming in, or if he throws a little roundup bugle, tell him, come over here, come to me, then you don't want to throw a challenge bugle out there. You don't want to introduce a bull that's not needed at that point. So, that's what you should do is what got you there. Don't forget what got you to the dance in the first place.
Yeah, and in this scenario we're talking about, Chav and I had this happen to us. We actually snuck into a group of elk, snuck through a bunch of cows and stuff like that, and got close to a barrier. And we seen some bulls that we needed to cross a barrier. We needed to call them across, and they got within, 12 feet of us. Okay. And they were very leery because the wind was swirling, and they'd catch our scent every now and then, and that'd booger them, and they'd move away from us 50, 60 yards. And every time they'd move away from us, I'd take my bugle tube and just very softly sound like a calf and a cow behind me. And then one of the bulls let out a little bit of a bugle. So I did the same thing. I just, that was it. And man, they all came running back, and they got right in there on us. And then before you knew it, we just sat there and sat. It took a long time for this to materialize. I mean, this is an hour. And we got eyes on them, Joe, and they got eyes on us, so we can't move. We can't do anything. I mean, it was painful, so they decided they're going to leave. And then I called them back with just a few little soft cow calls, and they're curious because they're hearing it behind me. Right. And they're like, where in the world is that cow? And now I hear a bull over there with them. So let's go find out. Here they come. And that was it. That, we killed a bull out of that set.
But the cool thing though is the bull that you introduced.
Yeah.
You don't know what that temperament of that bull is. It wasn't something where it was a low guttural, kind of like just a check. Well, I'm right here. Like he's reaching out to the cows going, where are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just that little grunt, that little, little frustrated sound there of another bull coming in to work the area, letting them know where he's at. So, yeah, I mean,
it worked amazing.
And
but we could have blew it up just as fast.
Yeah.
If we'd have challenged them, they'd have all ran off, I mean, seriously, because they were all younger bulls with a bigger bull in there. But I mean, and that bigger bull, he was very annoyed that he wasn't seeing the cows over there. Right. He was like, he knew something was up, So.
All right, let's take it a step further. You do the call, because you're trying to check, you're staying with the same call. What if he doesn't answer? Should you move and go look for him?
Depends on how long you hadn't got an answer. I'm waiting 30 minutes.
And how close he's sounding.
Yeah. Yeah. How close was the last time you thought he was? Is it 50 yards? You know,
if he was still at that 150, I think I'm going to creep forward just a little bit and, you know, try to get eyes on him or something. And then if not, I'm going to call where I was, and then I'm going to press forward a little bit. If the cover allows and I've got room to move, then I'm going to creep up for sure. And, you know, I'll probably cow call or whatever got him the last response.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to move my location just a little bit.
Yeah, you could actually, you know, we talked about this, Cole. You could actually, if you feel like he's still at that, you know, 60, 80, 100 yard mark, you could actually go behind, you know, leave and go behind you, softly cow calling and sounding like a bull that's following that cow, and then push back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Shut up and push back up.
I actually think, because Cole, I'm real overly aggressive, a lot like you are, but I blow a lot of situations making that call and then moving up to try to get my eyes on him. And most of the time it ends up like what Gilbert said, that bull's just standing there looking at me because he's been coming most of the time. So it's a real tough one. I'm like Gilbert though. I like to kind of, you know, throw those calls back and act like I'm moving away and make sure I've got a good quiet path, and then come forward again and now slip up instead of making a call there and then slipping forward. I'm going to do going away more and know where I'm coming back to, because I've seen that area. I know what it looks like. I know it a little bit better. So, but I've been, you know, Cole, exactly what you said is I've done that a lot of times, and I've paid the price a lot of times on that. There's not many times unless it's a real open area. And man, and I've gotten busted so many times where you think you know where that bull is, and you get that tunnel vision in that certain area, and next thing you know, you
blows up in front of you.
Yeah, he's up there on the side, man, just standing there watching you, you know, trying to sneak by. I mean, it's
they're so slick, man.
Oh man, it's happened time and again. So I really think that if you called and he hasn't answered you, I think a lot of the reasons for that is now you're in that bubble, and that's a critter that is going to be real cautious because he's not sure what. And generally, if that happens, it's not because you cow called. Generally, it's because you were doing bull calls.
That's right.
And he's coming in to really check to make sure he's not going to get his butt kicked. It's probably a younger bull. You know,
yeah, and if you just start cow calling away and it's sounding like another bull that's falling, or maybe throw in some, you know, some panning and some like a little rut scenario going on as you're going away, he may feel a whole lot more, you know, he may feel a whole lot more safer rolling up in there from behind like a satellite would. You know what I mean? So I think we've learned from past experiences, like Joe's saying, that there is a time to press forward, but when you feel like one's hanging up, it's probably not a good idea to just throw caution to the wind and get in there unless it's a last ditch effort, right?
Yeah, and
back out and see if you can get him to follow.
Grinders tuning in, thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Elk Hunting Podcast. Our goal is to share our knowledge and help you flatten that learning curve so that you too can have some of the very same incredible experiences that have given all of us here at ElkBros a lifetime of memories. If you like what you hear or see, you can get all of this information plus so much more from our Base Camp Elk Hunting Training Camp, the first in a series of online courses from our Blue Collar Elk Academy. Our Base Camp Training Camp allows me to use my coaching style and share almost 40 years of elk hunting experiences successfully hunting elk on public lands, as well as over 20 years guiding hunters of all ages and experience levels. This course will be like nothing you have ever experienced in concept and structure, using success-based coaching techniques that will elevate your confidence and skill sets. Our camp will prepare you specifically from that final moment most in your control, those final minutes or seconds the elk is in front of you, backwards through each step and level, allowing you to see, visualize, understand, and relate every coaching point to what lies ahead, the next step, the next thought process, the next success. Because y'all, you've already been there. You know what it looks like. By tapping my 30 years of teaching and coaching experience, our camps are developed considering multiple learning modes with text, visuals, audio, as well as video. And Base Camp will benefit those new to elk hunting all the way to the 10 to 15 year vet. So if you are looking for that one thing to help you fill that tag this year, invest in the most important piece of equipment there is, you and your elk hunting knowledge. You can find the Blue Collar Elk Hunting Academy and the Base Camp Training Camp at ElkBros.com. That's ElkBros.com. Keep dreaming of the screaming, believing in achieving, and most of all, keep grinding. And you know, you can use some of those lost cow calls going that way, or you can use those herd up calls. In other words, those gathering type of mews that those cows do, like when they get out there and they start doing those gathering mews out there, and you start really trying to pull them back in, then that bull might feel like, oh man, you know, and especially if it's a young bull, it might pull them in like that. So that's something for you to think about. Okay, all right, now let's take it to another scenario, man. I still don't see the bull, but he sounds like, and that's because you can hear him calling. You haven't seen him, but because of his call, he sounds like he's moving to my downwind side, right? What do I do?
Gotta go. You can't let him get there. You got to try to get to, if you think he's moving to your downwind side, you better get around, because if he ever smells you, the game's over.
Probably the best way to do is back out. And then, you know, instead of just going directly to the downside, you know, potentially having him see you, you may want to back out, creating some more distance, and maybe just kind of being on the...
But see, in your mind, you closed your eyes already, and you have a picture of a place you've been when that's happened, right? So you're actually seeing a particular vegetation, a particular layout, and you're saying, well, I got to back off and let these trees get there. And so really it depends on what the vegetation looks like. It depends on how the terrain is.
I agree. And I'm honestly thinking bow hunting, and because we're bow hunting, we're in dark timber. And so that's kind of the scenario I have in my head when you're asking this question, right?
Right. So. Yeah.
No, if I don't see him, Joe, generally, if I don't see him, he ain't seeing me either. So
it's a partner situation, and not solo in that situation. And you feel like that bull's moving to the downwind side.
You got to try to pull him the other way.
And who's going to pull him the other way?
No, the caller. The caller is going to move the opposite direction to try to pull it that direction.
That's right.
The shooter should stay put.
Up. And shut up.
So it's important that the caller knows where the shooter's at and have some type of visual contact. Because it kind of reminds me of that year that you killed that weird bull with the baseball bat.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I was in the edge looking at the bulls, 200-300 yards away, and when the three bulls just broke off from the main group and just made a huge circle, and I could see them, and I thought, oh, they're gone, but they were circling around and were going to come downwind of you.
Right.
Until they spotted me, because it was a burn area. There's no vegetation of any kind.
That first group of bulls.
So, so I actually saw, the bulls in action. Now, if it would have been a regular area with vegetation, I never would have seen them, and they would have appeared to my right. But since there was no vegetation, they still made that big circle, and you were still concentrating on the bull bugling in front of me. So, they do that quite often. And going back to that decoy that we used that one time where you got silhouetted, I had a visual on them the whole time, and they use that wind to perfection, but they just moved very slowly. And I don't think they even bugled at all, did they?
No. But here's the difference. Here's the difference in those two situations. In the one with the bull that you're talking about, Chab, that was two bulls engaged, and I mean we were verbally battling each other. So those So those younger bulls, man, are worried about getting their butt kicked. So they're really circling to try to see and try to scent check a little bit, and really being careful about coming into that scenario where when you talk about the scenario with the decoy, that decoy is a cow decoy, and I'm using cow sounds, I'm using mews, and so there's nothing intimidating about that to those guys. They're not worried about getting their butt kicked, man. They got a cow in front of them, man, they're just going to come straight in. So that kind of tells you a little bit too about an aggressive situation versus a cow being a bull being attracted by cow calls coming in.
And Jeff said something, he kind of slid it in there, but again, wisdom is like they use the wind perfection.
They do.
And I don't know how much we can stress that on this show. And unless we are willing to learn how to use the wind to perfection, we are going to be very limited in opportunities.
So, but the point I'm trying to make though, Luis, is, and you're totally right. But the point I want to make is you're going to get a lot more bulls circling when you're engaging them as a bull than when you're engaging them as a cow.
The cow, right?
Yes,
right?
yes.
So,
yes.
And the other thing is you're going to get less bulls circling to come into you when you are not engaging them. In other words, when you're doing a scenario, when we're doing our own little cow or little rut, seeing a cow that wants to breed, right? When we're doing that with another bull, or if we're doing a little rut fest, or we're doing a bull engaged with another bull themselves, then we actually have them, because it's not engaging them. It's not like they're having to worry about it. It's like the bull, if a bull is engaged with a cow and we're giving those breeding sounds, we're giving those huffs, puffs, the pants, the whines, we're giving the glunks like that, then they're going to come right in, man, because that is a non-threatening scenario. Right. All right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
the potential threat is limited in that area, in that scenario.
Yeah.
Anytime you have, bulls coming into a threatening situation, they're really going to circle to be able to see what that is.
Be cautious.
Unless they are a herd bull that's just fire in the eyes, pissed off, and want to come in and fight, man. If they think they're going to kick your butt, they don't care. They're going to come in. If they're worried about getting their butt kicked, they're going to circle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that happened in that same scenario. That bull with a baseball bat on one side, he got so mad he just went straight at you, at a fast trot. So that was pretty amazing.
That was in that one hunt, in that matter of 45 minutes, there were so many lessons learned by the different types of bulls and the way they reacted to me and that bull being engaged with each other.
Yeah.
And then you take almost the exact same area the next year with a decoy and cow calling, and you saw how those bulls come trotting right straight into that cow decoy, man, because there was no threat there. Right. So you're in your setup, and the bull busted out a bugle closing in. You haven't seen him yet, but he's way closer. So, now it's just the opposite, man. It's not like, we heard him far away and we're like, where is he? Now, man, he's busted out a bugle like you just haven't seen him, but he's just right there. So do you respond to that?
Oh.
Let him come on.
Solo, if you're solo,
come
you
on,
don't.
man. Let him come on.
I wouldn't respond at all, man. I would
not a one word.
No.
I watched the master do it. That bull that's right here, that bull was that way. We got him fired up. Joe got him so mad. That rascal come roaring up that freaking hill, and we never said a word. And we were waiting on him like a thief in the night, son. He come walking up through there, and Joe stopped him 48 yards, and it was over. I mean, serious business. That bull. Now we did have a decoy up past him, but I don't know that he ever saw the decoy.
Yeah, but the thing is a lot of guys will get nervous, man, when they get that bull that's like screaming in their face. Some people will just And I was talking to a buddy of mine, said that, they had a bull coming in. The bull's walking right into the shooter.
Yeah.
And, as he's walking in, the bull bugles. And so his caller screams, man, right at him, right? Like a crazy bugle right at him and stopped him up,
Yeah.
And he's like, why you do that? He's coming right to me. And the guy was like, I just lost my cookies, man. I didn't know what to do. I got so excited when he screamed. I just threw out a bugle because he did, man. It just, yeah.
I feel you. That morning I called that bull in for chav. I mean, we had 2 bulls coming,
Yep.
and we got a whole herd, 2 herds of elk converging. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it's the first bull I ever called in my life. And this bull's coming on a string. He almost steps on Chav, and I'm like, I got to stop him here because he's going to walk right over him, He stops right at Chav. I'm serious, 6 feet. He steps on him. He turns to the right, walks down there, and I see Chav go to draw. When he draws, I just, man, that bull stopped, looked right at me, and he never saw Chav draw. It was beautiful. I'm talking picture perfect. And the other bull is standing down there about 45 yards looking at this other bull, I mean, I smoke his rod if I got the tag, right? I mean, it's over. We double bull right there, que sera. It was so cool to watch all that unfold, right? But I didn't say a word other than when I stopped him because he was in that window for Chav. Once I got him coming and I could see him roaring through there and walking all mad and everything and peeing and bugling, I just shut up. Let him come on,
And let me tell you,
I didn't know what I was doing, Joe. I had no damn clue. I just knew that every time that bull would bugle, I'd do the same thing that made him bugle. And then here he come roaring up in there, dude. It was cool like the other side of the pillow, son.
Yeah, but you did. But listen to what you said, man. Every time he did it, I did whatever made him bugle. You were just feeding him what he wanted the whole time and getting that same reaction.
Well, and Chad was helping. He would be like, "Do it again, do it again." So it was so cool to, I've been coached by the best, and now, man, I'm telling you straight up, if I hear a bull bugle and I get in there amongst them, there's serious danger.
All right, so let's change it up just a little bit again now. So that same bull that just busted out a bugle, and you didn't respond when he sounded closer, and he's still bugling. But from the same location, he's not moving, right?
He's trying to call you to him.
So do you go after him? Do you call? If so, what call do you use? I mean,
and again, it depends on how long first. I mean, is he hung up?
Well, he's still bugling. He's bugling. He's bugling from
the same location.
And if I'm cow calling and he's calling the cow to him. That's what, especially if he's rounduping or, advertising that bugle. I mean, he's trying to get her to come to him, right? So you got to sound like something is now after that cow, right? She's turned and gone the other direction, and there's another bull in the midst of all this. And, I'm telling you right now, if he thinks there's another bull in there with her, he's going to probably move forward.
But so think about that. There could be many reasons that bull stopped right there. What if that bull has cows and the cows don't want to come any closer?
Right? No doubt. Sure could.
Or if, like you said, that bull is saying...
But that would be a roundup bugle that he would use.
Right.
Then you'd know he's got cows, and that's a whole different scenario.
Well, and it could be, again, you said, did you cow call him in or did you bugle him in? So you got to think, like, if you're bugling and he's answering and he's just going back and forth to you, right? If you're bugling... then he could be at a point where he's like, well, I got cows with me and I don't want to give those cows up, and you're like challenging him. You need to.
What kind of bugle is it, Joe? Is he drawing a line in the sand where he's barked at you and and then challenged you like, this is it, man, we're not going any closer,
Yeah.
He screams that little bark and then he gets off after you. I mean, that's,
There's
you got to
so
know
many-
what the bugle means.
There's so many things
Yeah.
you could be doing in that situation, man, because I mean, you could take an aggressive stage where you shut up and you move in and then you challenge that booger right in his bubble if you're able to get there. But remember, if he has cows, you got a lot of eyes, so that's something that you got to think about. It could be something where, like you said, now maybe I go to like a cow calf type thing, you know, where I'm trying to, you know, I've got my calf here, and maybe instead of working him, if I think he has cows, maybe I'm going to try to pull his cows instead, right?
That's that's what I would do.
Or I start, you know, doing something where I introduce, you know, if I've been doing it with bugles, I introduce my cow sounds, and instead of challenging him, I start doing my own demonstration type stuff with my cows right there, right? So I'm not so threatening to him, you know there, and maybe I'm trying to pull his cows again. But I really like the idea of using the cow calf in that, like that, or going in his bubble and getting after him, you know, on that. So there's different things you could try. Now, if I did it and he stopped because I was doing cow calls and he's demanding me to go to him, now I've got to demand maybe for him to come to me, where I use those reherding type calls, those type of mews with my calf sounds again inside there. So, you know, just
really
think about
important
what the
to read the
situation
bugle.
is.
Though. Really important to read the bugle that he's letting out.
Yeah.
And depending on the situation that you presented to that bull in the first place, you know, like if you started out like you had this hot cow that you've been chasing around or whatever, then you're right. He's probably very tempted to come over there because he probably has cows and he's reluctant to lose those cows. And
does he have a hot one?
Right. So to me, I think I'm gonna keep playing that scenario out just a little bit. If he's bugling, then I'm gonna try to back up just a little bit to try to draw him past whatever he's hung up. Because I think if he has cows, you're likely to hear that going on in that whole situation.
And then you can
especially if he roundups.
I'll take it to another level, Cole. If that bull is constantly bugling like that, you know, this is where
he could be in his
you were
bed
talking about earlier, where you shut up and you go in and you sneak up on that dude, man, because he's telling you right where he's at. And now you can actually get a little bit off to the side a little bit instead of in front where that sound was that they could be looking there. Just get off
especially
a little bit
with the wind right
and trying to get in on that booger. So if that guy's sounding off like that and he's telling me where he is, I'm just going to shut up and go after him as well.
He's dead if he's staying in one spot. I can tell you that.
Because once I get eyes on him, now it changes everything.
Different game.
Does he have cows? Do I get in the bubble?
You can read some body language.
Yeah, is he a young bull? You know,
100.
so I can get more information and I can make a better decision on that. But if he's going to sound off and I don't have to worry about finding where his location is, go and slip right in on that booger. Okay. All right. All right, here you go. Here's a scenario we haven't talked about. So you've got that bull that's coming, that's responding, and all of a sudden you hear a hunter off to your right calling into the situation. And so, guys, this is an incredibly real situation right here, where you've engaged with the bull, he's coming in, and all of a sudden you got somebody calling into the situation. What do?
I play into the situation. Straight up. I've had this happen so many times in Colorado. It never fails when me and Kyle get a good fired up bull. All of a sudden somebody pops off back behind us or to the right or whatever. And I just keep that whole scenario going. I'm going to fight that bull off, which is the new caller. And then I'm going to use him to my advantage. And I'm also going to be talking to this other bull. And I'm trying to keep my hot cow to myself. And really, I'm starting a fight between me and that hunter to let that real bull know that I've got a precious hot cow over here. And me and Kyle have called in several bulls by doing this exact setup right here.
Whether it's
there's a hot cow,
other bull, you can do the same thing, man. Right?
Yeah.
You got to introduce that hot cow that's in the middle of it, right?
And if you hear that bull coming in, and he's reacting now to that other hunter who's over there, you can just shut up and let him come. I mean, now you've got an unknown partner up there, basically, man, that's helping you to kill this bull. So, yeah, you can definitely make lemonade out of lemons, man.
Sure.
You know, don't get pissed off and go, God dang, you know,
they're doing the same thing you're doing.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing you're doing, and you know, y'all honor the hunt and get, you know, try to get it done.
Yep. Okay, so here's the other thing, man. You've got the setup. That bull is making that noise, and he hasn't showed himself yet. And all of a sudden, you see a hunter walk into your setup. See that hunter, and this.
Had that happen.
Let's see that again, Cole. Yeah.
Hey! You're yelling, but you ain't saying nothing.
Had that happen.
For you guys that, you know, if you're not watching this on YouTube, Cole is frantically waving those arms, man,
Flying the arms.
trying to get the attention. He is screaming with his hands, man.
Yes,
is what he's doing. And if once you get that guy's attention and he sees that you're in the setup, that he's coming inside of it, and you give him that, you know, that you see the bull in this direction, you know, just tell him, you know, you give him that wave off. Now, one or two things could happen. That guy could either take what you're saying. And Cole, how do you handle this? All right. So you see that guy, he sees you, but he still keeps moving towards the bull.
I bark at him. I nervous grunt him, and I go ahead and run the bull off, and then we'll catch up with the bull later.
A mountain clearing event.
I go ahead and clear the mountain.
Yeah.
Now, if you're gonna do me like that, I'm gonna go ahead and run it all.
Yeah, it's King's X for everybody.
Now, let me play the devil's advocate.
I've had this happen, Joe.
And I'm the other guy, right? And I'm coming in, and I've had this bull bugling way off. In fact, I heard this other bull, and I've been working in. All of a sudden, I catch some movement off to my left, and I see a guy over there waving his hands, right? And I don't know if that guy's been there all this time. I've been chasing this bull now for over a mile, trying to get in on him, and I see somebody waving his hands over there, right? Really, if I'm doing it, I would probably go to that person myself, right? But if I started going on further on after that animal, because I'm like, okay, I see that guy waving the hands, but I've been working the bull. I'm just going to keep working my bull. You know, I'm telling you, I wouldn't do that. I would just go to the person. I tell anybody in that situation, go over to the person there, you know, because
have a conversation.
Yeah, have a conversation. You know, it doesn't have to be long, and it might be that, hey,
we called him in.
Got a bull here. You look towards your left. I'll look towards the right. You know, one of us needs to kill this bull. Can we work together? If I have a partner back behind me, let's spread out to the side. Let my partner keep calling. Maybe one of us could get this bull. And again, turn a bad situation into a positive thing, man. Because and you could, you know, if you barked,
I was joking.
I know. I totally know. But I tell you what, now, if I'm somebody and I'm going over there and I see that person and they start screaming at me or something like that, you know, that we can have a situation because I did not engage that person, go talk to them. That's why I say the best thing is if you see waving hands, either back out of the situation or go talk to them. One or the other, but make that choice, either back out or go talk to them, man.
Yeah, Joe, and I think it was super important of what you're saying is that if we all think that way, you know, imagine what a difference it can make for everybody up in the mountain, right? And how positive an experience can, you know, turn into
because a negative experience can turn dangerous.
Exactly. And so you were on live yesterday, last night with our friend from Western Contours, and you guys were talking about, you know, something similar to this. It's just what are we doing to promote and to defend what we're passionate about, and to make sure that this is passed on to other generations. And I think part of what we can do is exactly what you're talking about, is
Help brothers.
Yeah, get everybody on the same mindset of, hunting is something that we can do together. You guys were talking about being very, jealous about, sharing information and sharing honey holes and stuff like that. And yeah, we can still kind of, be wary about sharing honey holes, but with regards to information, what a better example that the ElkBros, it's over 2 years of just openly sharing, y'all's knowledge to the world, free and plus entertainment when we have Manano to pick on. But my point being is that I think there is a lot of beauty into what you're talking about, into sharing information, into looking at other hunters as fellow friends and versus just somebody that you're just upset and meeting. And so, I think if we all can think on those same terms, then the person seeing you come in will also be receptive and will make things flow way better.
I'll take it back to the reason that it first really hit me that I wanted Eric Aragon to be part of this coaching staff. And it was when he was in a setup on his hunt and had a young man and his little brother walk right into a setup and blow up a bull that was coming in. And instead of acting like a butthead about it, and really legitimately, he could have been angry legitimately, but not everybody knows that they're walking into a setup. And I mean, not everybody has the skill set or the knowledge, or they might be very limited in their elk hunting knowledge. And ability level, right?
Yeah, they just domed into something.
So they didn't need to do that. And that was exactly the case. This was a young man and his brother that had been hunting for days, and they, basically hiking and hoping, and told him, this is the first elk we've even heard. And what did Eric do, man? Instead of going, well, maybe you should go hunt down there, and, you should be careful when you come. Instead of lecturing them, he was like, look, I know a spot where there's some elk. Maybe I can take you over there. And he takes them into another location and calls in an elk for these guys, and they score. I mean, what now? Take that right there.
Killed a giant too.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a beautiful bull, man. So look at,
promoting the sport.
What he did isn't going to be passed on to those boys, man.
Yeah,
so that's our next generation.
Pay it forward.
And they're going to pay it forward, and they're going to, if that ever happens to them, they're going to have that attitude. If they have people that are going to need help, they're going to pass that on. And like I said in that podcast, it was that live Instagram last night, is that, caring and graciousness and helpfulness has an eternal ripple effect, man.
It's never the wrong thing to do.
No.
Karma's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Look,
especially when you get to see somebody go through it after they've been messing with you for
whenever I was packing my bull out.
I was messing with Joe there on that one. He was giving me grief. One of the years I was in a very rough shape, and he was just kind of, he was putting us through some rough terrain and putting some miles on us. And man, I was wore out. And then he's just kind of turning around and kind of making fun and looking at Manano and looking at me and kind of laughing. And then he goes up this hill, man, and it was kind of slippery because it had that burnt. It was a burnt area, and it had that slippery kind of charcoal on top of the rocks, man. And he turns around, looks at us, kind of has that smirk on his face, and then he goes up that hill. And man, sure enough, not even a quarter way up there, man, he slips and rolls down. And I look at him and, karma is a bee.
It has a way of humbling you, for sure.
I've
been. Go ahead,
Gilbert.
I've been in some situations. What I want everybody to understand is to err on the side of caution, and to treat your fellow hunters with respect, and especially if we're hunting over the counter, public land stuff. They got the same right to the area as you do. I've been in some scenarios that could turn dangerous really, really fast, and did. And fortunately, I have a skill set that I possess that can deal with those kinds of things, and I didn't lose my cool, and nobody got hurt, and it turned out okay. But I'm telling you, guys are going to get agitated and they're going to get upset. You gotta be the bigger person in this deal, and whether you're on private ranch or whether you're on public land, it's going to happen, because it's happened to me on both. And I generally feel like when we encounter other hunters in the woods, it's an opportunity for us to not only educate the other guy into what we do at ElkBros, but it's also a really cool way to interact with hometown people that are there, right? Mm-hmm. And we're embraced in the community because of it. I've gotten to meet some really cool young people that are hunting with their fathers. Got to meet some elder guys that have been hunting for longer than I've been alive. Got to meet those guys. I mean, unbelievable, the people that I've gotten I've been blessed to meet. So if you take and turn it around into a positive thing, it could be really good. But if you go at it where you're agitated, I'm telling you, it can turn dangerous. You got to be careful and keep your cool.
And sometimes you get what you give. And,
sure.
If you want to throw rocks, you better be ready to have some.
Don't live in glass houses.
Yeah. So, really, we choose. Life is a choice. We have a choice for all the consequences that happen out there, and every choice has a consequence, either positive or negative. So the thing I want to tell you is that if we are all going to protect what we have here, if this is going to be something great for our children, our children's children, then it's up to us as stewards to, give each other some room, give each other some grace, give each other
support,
a helping hand, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some support. So I think that's huge. Now, guys, we're gonna tonight, we got to hit our mailbox.
Sure.
And we actually have, I think that was some great stuff right there. We still have a lot more on this series to do, but it looks like we have to do some of this series while we're at elk camp, man. So
it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it'd be really great to do this and include some of our elk camp stuff in it while we're doing it. But next up, we're going to talk about, there he is. He's coming into range, and then he's in my range. It's go time, and we're working towards the shot. So we're going to start getting all of those things in there as we go. And hopefully this is something, I could try to rush through this, or we could do this a 3-hour session, but no, that's not going to happen, man. We're going to do it so that this is a quality thing that you can go back to year after year after year, because at some point ElkBros is going to run out of stuff to talk about maybe, and this body of work is
as long as I'm alive. So top leg off of an
I haven't even started yet.
Yeah. So let's go down to our ElkBros mailbox, man. And Luis, the first.
So yeah, we got mailbox from Mr. Bobby, and I'm gonna butcher this one. Trichel.
I'd say Trichel. Yeah.
Tricel, Trichel. I don't know. I remember. Apologies in advance. I remember not too far back you talking about hunting the full moon versus no moon. My brother and I will be hunting Colorado the first 2 weeks of September, which is also on your calendar for the right time to hunt. My question is, what time do you believe the elk will be transitioning to their beds in the morning with no moon? Do you think it will keep them out until later in the morning, or will they feed later in the evening?
So will they actually come out earlier in the evening? So he's basically saying that we're not dealing with a full moon as much on this case, right? So he's wanting to know if those, that transition period, if it's going to slow down. In other words, are they going to be hanging out later, and are they going to be coming out earlier on that? So because they don't have the full moon. What do you guys, Chad, what would you say your take on that?
Okay, if there's no full moon, they'll probably stay out later and then head up to their beds, a little bit later than the full moon. Because if you have a full moon, they can leave during the night and head up to their area.
Mhm.
And I really believe there's some bulls that are just nocturnal, because when you hunt for sheds, you find some amazing sheds, and those bulls are never killed. So I think there's some real smart bulls that if there is a full moon, they head up early, and you never see them. But yeah, if you don't have a full moon, they'll head for safety at twilight, I think, or even a little bit later if they're not spooked.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to come out a little bit earlier, because they don't have all night to play. It's darker at night, so they want to get more secure areas where they can smell and see from wherever they're at while they're bedded. So yeah, I remember they're going from their day bed to their night bed, and they've got their feed that's happening, but they're in that night bed as well down there. So yeah, absolutely. And
you got to remember that they spend 70% of their time in their bed, so I mean, figure out where they're bedding, brother.
Yeah. And
yeah, I was going to say, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, Cole.
I was going to say, a lot of times whenever I first started hunting elk, it was just whatever time I could take off, regardless of what the moon was.
Absolutely.
And I do this a lot whitetail hunting. Like I don't give two craps what the moon's doing, because I'm going to do the same process that I always do to try to find those elk and get into them. Whether
they're still in the woods, they don't vanish.
That's exactly right. They're not anywhere different. You just have to find where they are at that time, right? And if it is a full moon, then they put up a little bit early, then they're already in the bedroom. So you just got to hike high and get there and kind of get above it kind of situation, because you can't follow them there, right?
Yeah, and I think that kind of completes the answer to that question, because that's spot on. I mean, I think that's what he's looking for, right? He's just trying to understand that behavior based on the full moon. Obviously, the behavior is going to change a little bit. So where would be the places to look, and based on the fact that there's no full moon there. So I think you've all touched on answering that in one way or another.
I think the best benefit for that is, remember, if they're out in open parks or they're in open areas, when you get on them in the morning because they're staying out there a little longer, that's not where you want to engage them anyway. You want to figure out where they're going into the trees. It just gives you a better opportunity to find that area to set up in that transition phase when they're leaving and they are going up to a bed. So it just helps you to get in on them without having to chase them so fast in that morning. So that's kind of the benefit of that. And the evening is going to be the evening. And guys, remember this, everything that we talk about is kind of like, a generalization of general behavior because of how these animals are. They don't listen to podcasts or read magazines, man, so they're not going to follow we've talked
they'd be a hell of a lot sharper.
Yeah, we always talk about bulls, how they like to, elk, they like to go from the bottom and they move up. And sometimes, man, they're up on top of these flat grassy mesas and they drop off on the side. Or if they're down in the lower, sage areas, they'll go and drop down into some of those ravines and drainages that are in there. So they have a little bit different. It's all about security. It's all about being where they can be secure, where they can be cool. And remember this, here's a huge one. Where can they go? Because they're wearing coats, insulated coats, and they have to regulate their temperature during the day. And so they have to be someplace where they can get in shade and regulate that temperature.
And water.
And the thicker it is, the better it is. And so if you're in a different type of terrain, where is that area? Sometimes it's dropping into something. Sometimes it's going up to where, those trees are growing. It just depends on where that regulated thermal area is best suited for them. So these are all generalizations. Elk do not follow a schedule. I've heard people go, man, I ran into this elk at 11 o'clock and he's supposed to be sleeping. They don't
have no schedule.
Yeah.
What I will tell you, Joe, is I've found when I'm hunting and I look up above me and there's, it don't have to be full. It just has to be the moon above my head. or below my foot, I see we have more movement with our game, right?
Absolutely.
So if the moon's up in the sky, get on your feet and get after them, because I guarantee those bulls are going to come out of their beds, try to find them a little wallow, and believe it or not, guys, we got the wind right. You can find a bedroom, you can go in there and kill
Most
them.
active times is what you're talking about.
Exactly, they're the most active times. That's right.
Absolutely, and that moon has some kind of, I mean, it does on human people, man.
Sure.
I've listened to some of my students now that have graduated that work either in the medical field or that they're teachers, and they're like, man, on a full moon, our clients are like nuts, you know, like, and it's the same thing, man. People get that agitated activeness. I mean, how many times have you ever had full moon nights when you had trouble sleeping?
Yeah.
You know, think about that. You know, so
if you run around with Joe in circles, you ain't gonna have no trouble sleeping. I can promise you that.
Hey, this next one's pretty cool. This is from Keith from Colorado, and he is a member of our Space Force, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah. So
thank you for your service, Keith.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Way cool.
Thank you for your service.
Space Force, man. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
It is.
I had teachers that thought I could be, you know, part of that because I was a real space cadet. They were always telling me, man. And, anyway, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, you might want to edit that one, Joe.
Let's say, man, you have some great teachers, man. Mine didn't tell me nothing like that.
So Keith says, now the military, and sit for a second here. He says, now the military has me in Colorado and I found a great bowl to hunt in. I have the trifecta. I've got 3 natural water sources, grass in the bottom, dark timber on the northwest facing slopes, and dark timber up high. Most of the activity I see and have been busted on is the elk coming down from the top, moving down and west towards the grass in the bottom in the mornings. I was not looking for them to be coming down at 8:30, and they got me. I thought they would be going up. Then later in the hunt at around noon, not too far from the wallow in the bottom, I got busted twice on separate occasions. Once because I snuck out to get a sandwich. Sounds like you, chap. And when I came back 25 minutes later, I didn't think they'd be sitting essentially on top of my hunting spot. I walked in like I was at the shopping mall and got busted. The other was about 2 p.m. walking down toward the same area, and they were feeding on the grass higher up the hill. They weren't supposed to be in that spot at that time. This is kind of what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be sleeping? LOL. My question is, the ElkBros team seems to talk about elk leaving the lower in the morning, heading up to dark timber and safety near the top, what he calls the military ridge, to sleep during the mid-afternoon. But I have repeatedly seen this small herd seemingly doing the opposite. Maybe they're walking down one side of the bowl and heading up the other, but they seem to be coming from the same high elevation on a very regular basis. Does this seem right to you? Should I set up at the top of the hill and shoot them in their bed? I'm trying no, and dude, I love you for what you're saying here, but man, I'm getting ready to tell you, no, I'm trying to honor their home and get them on the way to food and water instead. But 2 years of tag soup is getting old. Also, when I'm in the bottom of the bowl, the wind is coming off the different fingers and is going so many directions. How would you combat this? You know what? He just answered his question as to why those elk are down there.
Yeah. Because the wind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly right.
They have found a place that no matter where somebody comes from in a direction, they're going to catch their wind.
Yeah.
And they know that.
Yeah. And I would think 100% they're pressured elk anyway. That's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually feel pretty safe in this area, man. They're not in that bowl for, you know, they've got food, they've got water, they got security, and they don't have to be up on the top to have the security. They can be down there in the bottom where it's really cooler down there in any of that timber down there where you have water and stuff. They're able to eat any time of the day there, you know, and they have wind around them that is swirling because of that bowl and tells them, you know,
they're dangerous at.
Man, these elk are masters at the wind and their thermals and finding those locations where they feel very safe because it's hard for you to get on them.
So, Brother Keith, in your whole little scenario here. I didn't hear you say one thing about what call you were making to these elk. And I think it would help you a lot to know that where these elk are and to stay just outside of that zone of you being busted, and you call to this bull and you present the right scenario. He's gonna make a mistake and come over there and check you out. So that would be my advice to you is you present that right scenario. You don't have to worry about being in that wall or wherever it might be, because you're going to bring that bull to you.
Yeah, and there's so many things, but like I'm not sure exactly what the date is, what the moon was doing. You know, if you had a full moon on this time and they actually went to their bedding area early, man, 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock are really stretch the legs time, get a little munch time, because they're in their bedding area for so long.
And they don't know what time it is. They just know they're just there eating and laying, and there's nothing pushing them, you know.
No. Yeah,
so,
they're Forrest Gump people, man. You know,
sure.
when they're hungry,
tired,
they
we
eat.
sleep.
Yep.
Yeah,
When they're tired, they sleep.
for sure.
Yeah,
But Cole's right. I mean, if you know where they're bedding and they're going to a specific area, and you got the wind right, get in there, man. Pull off a slow play scenario. If you don't know what that is, look up Paul Medell and the elk nut, and I promise you, Paul Medell kills 90% of his bulls in bedding areas.
Yeah, we have the same scenarios that we work on ours, and you know, yeah, man, do not be afraid of going in those bedding areas, and that doesn't mean you have to go through them and blow them out. You just got to get on the perimeter and call them brothers off of it. So
that's right, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one. I don't know why I have this here. Gilbert, why don't you take Jason?
Jason Albright from New York, New York. He says, I hear you talk about closing the distance on bull elk that is 400 yards or more away. My question is it possible to call in a bull elk in September from over 400 yards without closing the distance? Well, I can tell you, hell yes. Hell to the yes, right? If you got a caller like Joe Gillia and myself, I promise you can get it done. What are the reasons for being so quick to close the distance on a bugling aggressive bull?
It's called public land.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. No doubt. Versus private. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, if I'm on private property, I've called bulls in from over a mile, man, on private property. I don't have to worry about anybody intercepting them. As long as they're coming, and it's all good. But, you know, I have been told in the areas that we're going to in Colorado, you better bring your own rock if you want a place to sit. So there's a lot of folks in the woods, man, and when a bull advertises his position, it's going to attract attention, man. We are the wolf pack, and it doesn't take long, and we are incredibly intelligent, and people are going to, you know, if you want to sit back and wait for it, you're going to end up with that situation we talked about earlier with somebody coming and calling into your setup. So,
and it is possible to call that bull from over 400 yards away, but why are you? I mean, are you up against a barrier? I mean, there's a whole lot of scenarios that go into that. I mean, I've seen, you know, Joe, myself, and I'm sure Cole have called bulls in from a quarter of a mile, you know.
Right across the fence, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if you go and watch our podcast where I killed that bull in a standoff for like 8 minutes a couple of years back, that bull came from very well over a quarter mile, half mile from away. And we were all but giving up on him. And then he pops his head out in front of a waller, and he's way down the mountain from us. And Joe just kept whining at him, and man, here he come. You know, we put on a little scenario, and he couldn't hack it. He knew that there was a hot cow up there, and he had to come find out. And that was it. But we called that bull in from a long way off, and he was in a wallowing. I mean, black as the ace of spades when he come rolling up through there.
Yeah, I think anything you can do to reduce that distance, you know, if you can, you know, continue. There's nothing wrong with actually calling and then moving forward, because then now, especially if you're solo, that call is behind you.
Yeah, especially if he can't see you.
And then, he's going to be focused behind you if that's the case too. So, I mean, nothing wrong with just trying to reduce that gap and trying to expedite the situation to take
Again,
place.
you got to listen to his bugle, what he's bugling at you. Is he rounding up cows when he's bugling at you? So that's another reason to close the distance, because he's probably going to keep moving. If he thinks you're a bull and you've advertised a bull, he's going to move his cows, right? So if he's sounding off in the same place, man, you need to keep moving.
There's something else I want to throw out there is the same thing that I tell people about. Look, I can be the best shot in the world. At 20 yards, I have a certain percentage that, that's a layup for me shooting that at an animal. And I might be able to shoot great shots at 60 or 80 yards, right? I might be able to drop dimes on that. But in that amount of time it takes for my arrow to get from point A to point B, there's other variables that could happen. That animal could move, he could turn, could do different things without even being spooked. It might just be within his normal movement that he's making before that arrow gets there. Well, it's the same thing when you have an elk responding at a long distance. It doesn't have to be another hunter. There could be a lot of variables between you and that animal that's going to keep that animal. He could actually come across another bull out there. He could come across another predator out there. He could come to an area that he really does not want to cross that area, or it's difficult, for him to cross that area. Me and Chav had you see that bull up right there, that bull that I have up on top, that one there. We had a bull that made him look tiny. And because we had, and it sounded like he was right there. Well, he was only 50 yards away. Probably 60 on the other side of that. But we had a complete drop off there, and he's on the other side, and he's just screaming at us because he's not able to come to us, man. And so, there's different things that could happen there. So you don't know that. You can look at different things on your base map or on your Onyx and different things, but a lot of times it's even hard to tell on those the way contour lines go sometimes. So, the more you close the distance, the better chance you have at eliminating variables. So that's one of the reasons, whether it's another hunter, whether it's a predator, whether it's another elk, whether it's the terrain or anything like that, man. So that's what I would tell you. One of the reasons I like to do that. All right.
Absolutely, Joe.
All right.
Yeah, that was a great question. Glad we got to all of them this week. As you guys know, we'll be in the hills when we shoot the next one. We'll be back talking about, our strategies from what we believe that are going to help you guys put more elk on the ground and you understand their behaviors. Guys, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, rate, and review. You got to go to Apple Podcast or iTunes to review us. And you can check more elk hunting content out at ElkBros.com. And just a reminder.
Gilbert, if I could, man, I'm sorry to interrupt you, bro. I'm sorry, man. But I'm just going to ask y'all out there. And you hear Gilbert do this, and we go through this part like, it's kind of like the label on your bed or on the neck of your T-shirt. It's like something that's just there all the time. And I just want to tell you this. When he asks you guys to subscribe, rate, and review us, we don't want it just to be that tag on your mattress or on the back of your T-shirt. We honestly need that, man. We really enjoy y'all's reviews. It's something that we go back and look to see if we get a new review all the time, man, because it really makes us feel good about the fact that we know that we're of value to you out there. So if you can take a moment and go and just click on one of those stars, whichever one you want to, however you feel the job that we're doing there. But like Gilbert says, don't be mean and nasty, but, we would appreciate you, and we do appreciate you, and you don't know what it means to us when we go back in there and we see these reviews and we see these honest reviews. It just means to us that you're willing to take a little bit of time out of all this time that we take, because y'all, this is episode 136. Most of these episodes are between an hour and 2 hours long. And these folks and us, we've put a lot of time for it. So we definitely appreciate you taking some moments out. Give us a review that helps us, and give us a rating, helps us to show other people care when we try to get sponsorships, or when we try to get people that want to partner with us. They can see that we have something of value. So it helps us keep on giving you something for free. All right?
Absolutely. Well said, Joe. And if any of our listeners would like their questions answered on our show, just send your question to info@elkbros.com. That's info@elkbros.com. Unbelievable episode, Joe. Can't wait to see you boys up here in the mountains here in just a few days.
Man.
And like we say down here in the Lone Star State, and for all our husbands out there, please kiss your wives. Wives, kiss your husbands. Hug your babies. Keep your broadhead sharp and your powder dry. And we'll see you next week right here on Blue Collar Elk Hunting.
Yeah, don't kiss your broadheads.
It's elk season, y'all.
And guess what, man? We're finishing up with who? Big T, Tony Wintrip.
Wintrip, TW in the house.
Peace, everybody.
Strap on those spikes, boy, leave the world behind. There's dreams here to chase, and you got the rest of your life. The grass is cut, the dirt is dry, and this field was made to run on. The sun now is shining, and the wind is laying down. So pick up that bat and ball, leather on the ground, and smile as big as the blue sky, 'cause this field was made to run on. This field was made to run on. This field was made to run on. You gotta leave all your excuses and troubles all behind. Everybody is a leader, shaking all high fives. No back talk, no trash talk, play hard all the time. And most of all, you gotta bust your tail between the white lines. This field was made to run on. Yeah, this field was made to run on. Gotta believe in yourself and set the field on fire. The stands are full of boys and girls, they all come to admire the way you throw the fastball, or the way you're gonna rip that fender. Yeah, this field was made to run on. Yeah, this field was made to run on. You gotta leave all your excuses and your troubles all behind. We gotta move that runner over. Make sure you read the signs. No back talk, no trash talk. Play hard all the time, or you'll find yourself on the hardwood if you don't run between them lines. This field was made to run on. Yeah, this field was made to run on. Run up and on. You gotta leave all your excuses and your troubles all behind. Everybody is a